We begin today's wrestling news and rumors video with some downright shocking and unfortunate news regarding one half of the women's tag team champions Liv Morgan, as there was apparently a very unsettling incident that occurred at the WWE Performance Center, which resulted in an arrest being made. For those of you unaware, a Twitter user by the name of NXT with Neji reported that a stalker was arrested outside the WWE PC last night, revealing, quote, "A legit stalker was arrested outside of the PC tonight. Multiple bags of evidence taken in by police officers. I wish I was making this up, y'all. Y'all need help seriously shaking my head." In an update tweet, it was revealed that this individual was confirmed to be stalking former women's champion Liv Morgan. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful also validated the news, taking to Twitter and saying, quote, "Liv Morgan's stalker was arrested. WWE had been made aware of the situation and called in authorities." Now this is honestly a crazy and very scary situation to hear about, and all we can say is thank goodness Liv Morgan is okay, although no doubt she's shaken up with all of this. There was a pretty shocking and unexpected debut that occurred during last night's episode of NXT, as the rumors were proven to be true as former AEW star Mariah May made her surprise debut last night in the crowd, proclaiming that she will be the next NXT Women's Champion. Mariah's WWE debut received a huge pop from the crowd, and fans have been buzzing about this news on social media ever since. Now some new details have emerged regarding Mariah May signing with WWE, courtesy of Fightful, with 411 Mania summarizing the report detailing May's arrival in WWE by saying, quote, "Mariah May is part of WWE with her debut coming on NXT, and a new report has more details on her arrival." As noted, the former AEW Women's World Champion made her debut on tonight's show. Fightful Select reports that May is signed to a multi-year deal, and notes that the specifics around the debut were kept quiet so they would not leak. Sources in WWE said that a very small group knew officially beforehand that May was signed, and that the plan has been for her to be on NXT for a while. Word of her involvement was relayed to talent in gorilla position just before the segment began. May was heavily tipped to go to WWE for the last few months, as May had been making moves preparing for post-AEW life. AEW was interested in keeping her, though there's no word yet on what the offers looked like. Sources in AEW do not believe she left the company on bad terms. May was removed from the AEW roster page at the end of last month, and management said at the time that she was still technically under contract. Her deal came up at the start of June along with a number of others, and AEW removed her from the roster page to get ahead of the matter. The report notes that Abaddon is still on the roster page, even though their deal came up at the start of the month. May was not mentioned by name on NXT, and there's no word on if it will change. Mariah May is believed to be her real name, and she is able to use it if both sides decide to. She used it before coming to AEW. Ricky Saint similarly was not referred to by name when he debuted, but that is not the same situation. And when he debuted, WWE was insistent that there could be issues with him using the name Ricky Starks, even though it had been used on WWE TV before, and his real name is Richard Starks. Now we're not going to lie, the time it took for Mariah May to join WWE following her release from AEW was about as quick as we've ever seen, and no doubt Mariah is a fantastic addition to the company's women's division. Some fans were clearly hoping that Mariah would have immediately joined the main roster after signing with WWE, but honestly, with the likes of Stephanie Vacker and Jordynne Grace recently getting called up from NXT to the main roster, the NXT brand was in need of a big star for their women's division, and no doubt Mariah May fits the bill. However, the ring name for Mariah May in WWE is likely going to be different, because we noticed that Mariah's name was nowhere to be seen on any of the social media posts surrounding her debut last night. Instead, Mariah was simply referred to as being one of the biggest free agents in wrestling, and she's here. Most likely Mariah will have a name change, but we suppose that's not the biggest deal in the world. Regardless, let us know your thoughts on the arrival of Mariah May to WWE NXT, and are you happy to see Mariah sign with the company following her departure from AEW? And if you had to guess, where do you think Mariah's ceiling is in WWE? Is she destined to be a future main event caliber star in the women's division, a multi-time women's champ? Or do you feel like she's not going to do as well as some fans think? Now we think it's safe to say that 2025 has so far been a year full of non-stop roster cuts and releases, and they just seem to get more shocking the further in the year we get. Fans are still furious about WWE deciding to release R-Truth and Carlito over the weekend, two fan-favorite comic relief geniuses, and then on top of that, The Miz had unfollowed WWE and removed all mentions of the company on his social media just days after R-Truth's release, with there now being speculation about The Miz soon departing WWE. As well, we can't forget Valhalla, formerly known as Sarah Logan, who also just broke the news of her unceremonious exit from WWE. However, it appears as though we're not yet done with the releases, as Brian Alvarez of the Wrestling Observer revealed that more roster cuts are likely upon us, and also discussed The Miz's uncertain status with WWE, saying, quote, "I've been told that there might be other WWE departures as well, so this might not be the end. Miz has not been doing much lately, and on Friday they did a segment he had just gotten put together with Carmelo Hayes as a tag team, and they were teasing a breakup on Friday. And this was right when they cut Truth and Carlito, and now Sarah Logan, and I've been told there were others. And I bring up Miz not just because of that angle, but if you go to his Twitter, I mean, there are no mentions of WWE. It no longer says the most must-see WWE superstar. He removed all references to WWE. It now says the most must-read Twitter account of all time, and that's it. Now, I was told that he is doing the new season of American Gladiators or whatever, and so I know people are skeptical they would get rid of him now, but he did remove references to WWE from his social media, and I just think it would be a pretty lame thing to do that if you're not being released when everyone else has been released. So there might, where there's smoke, there could be fire. I will say that, but I guess we'll find out as the week goes on. Now, this is honestly terrible news that WWE could be preparing for even more releases, and while there are certainly plenty of talent on the roster who are at risk of getting included in the next batch of releases, especially after R-Truth of all superstars was fired, that pretty much confirms no one on the roster is safe. There is one underutilized and mistreated superstar on the roster that we believe is unfortunately going to be released, and that is none other than Shinsuke Nakamura. After having what many fans would describe as being a massive flop of a heel turn, Shinsuke Nakamura has basically been treading water in WWE and doing nothing of importance. His run as the United States champion was one of the worst in recent memory, and that lackluster US title run sort of showed what WWE creative thinks of Nakamura. He was an afterthought as champion, and was booked absolutely horrendously all throughout and after his run as champion had ended. There was speculation last month that Nakamura had been released, but that story was debunked after Nakamura ended up appearing on television again towards the end of last month on SmackDown. However, it's clear that creative still have nothing for him to do of any significance, and if this new TKO-led WWE are crazy enough to release R-Truth just days after his major storyline program, with the literal top champion of the entire company in John Cena, we certainly don't think Shinsuke Nakamura's job is at all safe in WWE, and despite having so much promise and potential to be a massive star at the beginning of his run in WWE, the reality is that Nakamura's time in the company is up, and his recent booking has reflected that, especially when you take into consideration that most of the recent roster cuts in WWE have been done for budget-cutting reasons so the company can save some money, and while Nakamura has been irrelevant for years now, he's still likely making in the low seven-figure range each year, but that certainly won't be the case for much longer.